Hi, this is Jesse Owsley. This presentation will be Data Integrity and Business Systems Integration, and I want to present a real-life case study of how we used Entrinsik Informer to achieve data integrity between our ERP and true to force CRM and how we maintain that on an ongoing basis. Now, this is just one case of how we use this, but my purpose is to show you as we go through this case some general capabilities of Informer to help you determine ways to bring value to your enterprise with Informer. Just to introduce myself, my name's Jesse Owsley, and in my professional career, I've been an adjunct economics instructor at Drury University. I've spent most of my career with Epicor in the ERP and the business intelligence world. I've spent times as a product support analyst, a product development analyst, as a business intelligence consultant, ERP consultant. I've been an information services manager at Elk Supply Company for 4 years. It's a distribution company based in western Oklahoma, 15 location. And currently, I'm a project manager with the information services department for Southern Supply Company. Southern Supply is a family of manufacturing distribution companies. We're headquartered in Springfield, Missouri. You can see from our logos there are a number of companies who do a number of different things using a number of different systems, so that gives us a lot of opportunity to use Entrinsik Informer, which does a great job of reporting from and between all those. For example, we use Informer to report from our various ERPs for distribution, such as SXE, and manufacturing, such as Sightline, and our CRM, true to force, warehouse management system, proof of delivery, e-commerce system, document management system. We really make a lot of use of importing external data from spreadsheets and using that in Informer to report a standalone or compare with data from other systems or for various integration purposes. There's a lot more here. These are just highlights. We've used Informer to integrate with UPS WorldShip and with the website database. But I want to look at this specific case of how we used and continue to use Informer to really make this integration between the ERP and the CRM work well. And this is specific to one of our divisions, SMC. It's a distributor of electrical and automation and other industrial products. And our customers are manufacturers, large manufacturers, and other industrial companies. And we employ outside salespeople and technical specialists to sell these really complex, highly configured products. And as we do that, we've used the ERP, 15, 16 years or more. And we've been a true to force customer for 8 or 9 years. And this is primarily a one-way integration in this case. We take information from SXE on a daily basis, we integrate it over to true to force, and we slice and dice that information over in the CRM in ways that the ERP just can't. We want to split things up and see things in really complex ways. True to force is great for that. The ERP is not, so that's why we do the integration. As I said, we set this up 10 years ago, and in the last 10 years, everything's become more complex, right? The technology environment has become complex. The customer requirements are more complex. We're doing more technically complex sales. We're doing assemblies of different products, kit components into larger components and multiple levels of assembly. It's more complex. In the last 10 years, the ERP hasn't sat still, and product development for the CRM guys at true to force are constantly innovating and bringing in new capabilities. In addition to that, we have more complex roles for our team members. Our sales guys and our technical specialists are doing more things, working more together in collaborative ways. We're providing more complex services for our customers. As a result of that, we slice and dice information over in true to force from the ERP. Well, the result is we get this case where, as we're slicing and dicing, we get some variances and exceptions. This results in out-of-balance issues between the ERP and the CRM. Looking at the tools and the things we had available with Informer, we determined, hey, it's time to review this integration, and let's make it work really, really well again, like it did, in the beginning. So prior to going through the process, we set up for success, right? We get the ERP up to up-to-date release. We get Iterative Force update. We train our ERP users on what they need to do. And we engage with Iterative Force and their professional services to train users on best practices. And then we began on a process. It's an iterative process of discovery, correction, and alerting. So I mentioned that we have some situations where we got out of balance and exceptions. And so the first thing we do is set up dashboarding that reports both from the ERP and the CRM and compares them directly so that we can find problems. And then as we do that, I'll use the capabilities of Informer to do ad hoc queries against tables over in both databases so we can determine, okay, well, I see there's an issue. Let me dive into this and see what it is. As we determine what that is, we can take corrective action to fix whatever, or possibly as a process fix. Maybe it's not a data fix, but maybe we've got people doing the wrong thing. But as part of that corrective action, then we can also query to find if I've got this condition that's problematic for the integration, will let me do a query, look through the database on both sides, it's fine, and find all of the issues of that same type and then fix them. And then finally, after we've done that, we say, okay, well, I know this problem exists and I fixed all of them that are out there, but it could happen again in the future. So I'm going to set up an alerting dashboard so that if that problem does arise, it immediately bubbles to the top and I see it, and I can solve any of these issues before they become issues. Here's an example. This is a live example. This is a problem dashboard that shows up actually on my ERP portal every time I open up my ERP. Now, importantly, this is generated by Informer, but it's not presented in Informer. This is presented on my ERP dashboard. Got that capability, and it works very well. In this case, I'm just showing, here's the invoice numbers, and I want to take each invoice, and I want to compare the price and the cost for each invoice between the ERP and the CRM. And if there's a difference, more than some small variance that I allow, tell me about it. And here it is. So it allows me to zero in on problems, very easily. It's very easy to compare. 20 years ago, you would manually review reports from one system and manually review reports from another system and try to drill down in, and oh my goodness, that would take hours in a dynamic situation. It's really, really hard to do. This makes that really simple to compare both my invoices from SX, as I slice and dice these things in creative and interesting ways in the CRM, then and put them back together, then this shows me where, hey, I've got a variance. These are real examples. As I do that, that first dashboard really just told me, hey, there's an issue. These things don't match up. It didn't tell me why. That'll alert me to look at that item in the ERP, one of these orders with variance. I can drill in and look at the detail separately in the CRM. That's what this looks like when I explode all these things in the CRM side. But one of the things that Informer allows me to do in an ad hoc way, go in and grab information about those transactions, say, okay, well, let's split this thing apart. Let's look at the data tables and see what's going on both sides so we can drill down in and see, well, why do we have this variance? This is a real life example of something that I use that goes in and shows the kit component information from the ERP using Informer. I can't get it directly out of the ERP. I can't see this information directly in the ERP. I have to use something else to split it out. So in this case, I have an assembled product made of multiple components, and then I can use Informer to go report directly from the table to show me the information in the format that I want, to show me the information the ERP just does not show me behind the scene. So let me determine, okay, well, what's the issue? What pieces are out of balance? What specific lines or whatever is the real problem? So I'll fix problems. They come up. They'll show us how those issues come in. And then we'll query to find out all the existing information. This is a part of a dashboard right here. This is a little query that's embedded in a dashboard. And one of the things that will break the good integration is if I don't properly assign sales reps to accounts, which I track in the ERP. That's the whole purpose of of using the CRM is to track salespeople, and if I don't assign them, then I have a hard time tracking them. So this is a real example. This is a query that just shows me information on, in this case, SX, but any ERP would have the same issues, where these are exception cases, customers or ship-tos that don't have an outside salesperson assigned. And so they're not going to be assigned to anybody in the CRM if they're not in the ERP. So this helps me solve that problem on an ongoing basis. Here's just a split view of what that dashboard looked like a couple of months ago. I've actually added some things on here. The things that'll cause me grief are is if, again, I don't assign warehouses to customers, or if I don't assign sales reps, or if I don't require ship-tos. All those things can be problematic. And trying to keep track of that in a dynamic environment with lots and lots and lots of people with their hands on it is just, it's murder. The data governance issues are huge, and this really solves so many of those issues. So the result of this iterative process of going out, comparing things, finding these emerging problems, fixing those problems, or using the tool to understand what the problems are, fixing the problems, querying to find if there are other similar problems, taking corrective action, and then setting up to alert on this condition automatically, it really results in really good integral data. And it also results in this alerting dashboard and this data integrity model that take us from a position of playing whack-a-mole with problems to really feeling like we've got control over the integrations. This is a bonus, testing BSI changes. So one of the things we did with Iterative is we worked with the integration team. You know, the things had changed over 10 years, and so we wanted to do some different things with the system integration. So we're comparing 3 different sources of information. I want to see what the information is in SXE, the ERP. I want to see what it is in the production CRM. And as I integrate these things over to the test environment, I want to be able to compare the test CRM against production CRM and against the ERP, the source. So that, you know, if you don't have this Informer tool, that's really, really, really hard. And this dashboard just shows where I have invoices. For each invoice, I show the invoice as it appears in the ERP, shows it appears in production CRM, test CRM, and I can calculate variances between the two and then easily sort and filter on those variances to find out where there are differences, and then go through my process of drilling into the things that emerge as variances. And it makes this overwhelming management problem very manageable. I want to look down in the bottom left-hand corner. If you notice, I've got highlighted, and I'm showing page item 1 to 25 of 100,000 records, 101,565. That's how many records I've got validating here. And if you look at this column that says new BSI to SXE price, it's in the middle, it's highlighted in yellow, and you look down, well, I have something dead simple. I'm just comparing between the SX, my ERP, and my new integration, sort these in order by, descending order by value of the variance so that I can find where my issues are. I've got 100,000 lines here, and I've got less than a dozen where I've got this variance. And I've got a few on the other side, about the same number on the other side, but a very few. So to try to find that is very, very challenging and almost impossible in a dynamic environment. And I've got integrations that are happening every day. The data is refreshed. But in this case, all it is connected all to Informer, and then it reports on itself, and it tells me very easily. So the result of this whole process, I showed a slide earlier with the information going directly from Iterative to SXE, or rather the opposite. But putting Informer in the mix really allows me to have control over what's going on, to understand what's going on in real time, automatically, and that makes me very happy.